We're back with videos. Unfortunately, there's no big update. The markets have been really quiet since that last video. Took a small loss on Friday last week and took a small win today, which is Wednesday. You'll see that in the eclipse that people wanted to see chart-wise. Apart from that, nothing really going on. Like I said, market's slow, US shutdown, and just not a lot of news and data being released. So markets is just ranging really, for my market at least. We're looking for more volume tomorrow, which is Thursday and Friday. So I'll update you next video with some more chart work and some more entries with phase one past. And apart from that, enjoy the chart work.
We're back with the video. Now, we got some comments in the previous one where there's a lack of charts. So I'm going to bring some charts mixed with a bit of my face. And I hope that'll give some more insight into how I think, why I trade, or how I trade, and why I think the way I trade, etc. So, quick synopsis. I learned a lot of my things that I currently trade through ICT. Many of you know that and who that is. The reason why I trade ICT is because it's the one that's made sense to me over the years. I've tried support and resistance. I tried trend lines. I tried demand zones, supply zones. I'm sure you can mix and match all of them together and you can get some sort of super secret source. But for me, this has worked over the last year and a half, 18 months. So I'm going to be trading this. Specifically, I look for liquidity, draws on liquidity as entry points, but also exit points. So with that in mind, the best thing to do, and what I always do every week, every Sunday, every Monday, is zoom out to our time frame. So if we start off very quickly, I'm going to keep this very quick for everyone. We understand, and I'm only trading one pair for now, Euro USD is very bullish for the year. There's no question of doubt. What there is a question of doubt now is the pullback phase. So we've had some excellent Q1 and Q2. Q3 was a bit wishy-washy. We'll break that down on the weekly. And Q4 is now pulling back. This can actually be seen on DXY as well. If we show you that, which I trade next to as confluence on Euro USD, it looks very nice for a pullback. And so the reason why we're looking for a pullback, if you want to break it down further, is on the monthly. We had some rejection twice. So if we view it as, or look for, it's liquidity, right? And liquidity is where it's usually resting above or below wicks, right? Now, in my mind, this clearly sticks out like a sore thumb. And if we just look left, if you want to use this data from 2021, we can see there was a wick here, and it was a higher high of the wicks, right? There's a little wick to the left, lower, and then higher. So I'd use this candle or this wick as a entry point or as a indication of a swap of potential narrative. And that is exactly what happened, coupled with another sweep of this candle high, which happened during July. We can clearly see price really wanted to go up higher, but it couldn't, it failed. Now, this was the turning point in September where we saw continuous bullish movement throughout the whole of Q1 and Q2. Then end of Q3, September, gave us that rejection wick that we wanted. Now, our bias is now changed. And if we go on the weekly, it breaks it down even further. A lot of wicks back and forth and just ranging since June 30th, really, that week. So now we've slowly broken out that range. Where is price going to? That's all I ask myself on the week. Where are we looking to go to? Well, in my mind and what I can see is this wick down here. That to me stands out very clearly, and liquidity is there waiting to be taken. And so with that in mind, if we compare it with DXY, because DXY is made up of 57% euro, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. So this obviously has a significant impact or significant inverse correlation with Euro USD. You can see actually Euro USD is behind DXY, whereas this wick here on DXY is actually this wick here on Euro USD. And this one has already been swept by DXY, but not by Euro USD, something to remain aware of. Now, that got swept today, and is actually one of my targets for these sells. And thus, with that high time frame level being taken, we're now going to have to expect a pullback within a pullback. And so I was swapping my buyers from original sells in USD after breaking out that range to now, since DXY has taken out this area, I'm going to be looking for a slight pullback in price with buys from here. Now, we can also clearly see I trade fair value gaps with liquidity. Fair value gaps are my entry, but liquidity sweeps must happen first. Now, fair value gap clearly on the daily here. You can see that hasn't been fully filled in or however I want to label it, but it's within that area. Now, like I just said, we've got a narrative for the week. We've just swept that liquidity on DXY. It could be risky, but at the moment, we're playing what we're being shown. We only can play what the market is showing us. And if we go onto the hour is how I look for entries. If there's an hour wick or bit of liquidity, I look for that to be swept. So prime example, and I'm going to show you an entry that potentially I might be in now unchecked, is here. So I've labeled the chart. You can see the price resting below here. I was waiting for this all day to be swept, and I entered earlier actually sells in this candle here, but we never actually swept this area. So I got stopped in profit by 0.25 RR. Never swept. Then it swept during the data release of ADP. We're looking for a double rejection, which we get. We tried to go lower once and then twice. So we got that sweep, that manipulation that they call it, the liquidity, the volume we need. Now we're looking for a reversal from here because we've been ranging since Tuesday. We've rejected multiple times. Where are we looking to go next? And now if we couple that with DXY, look at that. You know, it takes out that weekly or monthly or weekly level. And now we're rejecting, and look at this hour candle is currently 26 past the hour. And so we're heading down, right? Now I'm looking for buys on Euro USD. How do I enter? Great question. So I usually enter on the 15, the 5 or the 1. To enter on the 5 or 15 or 1, they all require some sort of fair value gap on the respective time frame. That's how I enter. Keep it nice and simple. People can complicate it with, or people can use other tools that they want to use. But for me, sticking with what I know and what has worked, I enter like so. So I check. There's a nice big gap, lovely, from the release of some ISM services data. Is there any fair value gaps on the 15? No. Okay, nice. Is there any 5-minute fair value gaps that I can enter apart from this big gap? Not really, no. I was waiting for here. No entries for me. The reason why I don't enter potentially here, like there's a 50, you can argue there's a 15 here and a 5 here, but I'm waiting for this candle here that I'm hovering over at the news or data release before I enter, because I knew this is going to be a high impact event. I've seen it before and over again. Right, now here is where I'm looking to enter. I've ignoring this gap, which is annoying. The rejection here after the data release, nice. Now I'm looking for some sort of breaker structure. Where do we see that breaker structure? We've got the 1 hour sweep. We're looking for a breaker structure. We've got the double bottom. We're looking, and we can start seeing here. We bring out this high, high, low, then high again. So now I'm looking for a clear entry, and the entry is on the 1 minute right here. Now I like to see the full candle, full fair value gap be filled, and thus that means my entry is towards the bottom of it. So around here. I'm not sure why the box that I usually have is like that. But either way, that would be my entry. And I'm just checking now on my phone. I did not get tagged in. So that would have been my entry and would have been a great transition for the video. But overall, that's how I'm trading. And we'll keep our eyes out to see if we do get an entry later on. Now, showing the trades that have happened since the last video. There was no actual entry after I just showed that previous clip. The entry that I took earlier today, that was a small win. I was waiting for, as explaining in the video, for that sweep. We're on TradeZilla, by the way, just for a bit more context. We're waiting for that sweep of these lows down here, which we didn't get. We got the reversal, tapped out just in profit before actually hitting that, pulling back and hitting out. The market's been very rangy, lower probability day, which is fine. No money lost, slight money won. Strict rules were followed, and overall is an okay day. Tomorrow will be better. But as you can see, if we look at this on DXY, we saw that 1 hour liquidity, and we actually swept on DXY, but not in Euro USD. So overall, maybe frustrating for some, but overall happy with how that's played out, and we'll update you more in the next video where we'll have passed phase 1.